Volkswagen is in big trouble. They can't sell their new vehicles and EV dealers are getting desperate. The CEO Oliver Blume has sounded the alarm himself. It's like the roof is on fire and Volkswagen is feeling the heat like never before. Volkswagen is losing millions of dollars and are in serious trouble. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what Volkswagen's plan is and what the impact can be for the whole EV market. So do you have an EV or are you thinking about buying one? Watch this video first and maybe you might change your mind. About EVs, massive consumer backlash, promises left unfulfilled, production halted, and cars left to rust in desolate graveyards. It's a catastrophe of epic proportions, and the shockwaves are rippling through the entire auto industry. And get this, they've even lost the sales battle to Tesla in just 1 year. But wait, why the fast rush into EVs? Are politicians pushing too hard to go to EVs? Despite seemingly no demand, Volkswagen is doubling down on electric vehicles, pouring billions into a dual-focus strategy that's bleeding them dry. And guess what? They're drowning in debt to the heights of $192 billion. The urgency in the CEO's voice was palpable as he delivered a chilling ultimatum. Drastic spending freezes and tough decisions ahead. It's a wake-up call like no other, folks, and the consequences are staggering. So what's next for Volkswagen? Can they weather this storm of their own making? Or are they staring down the barrel of extinction in the face of relentless competition? We will explain it. Let's break it down. Volkswagen is drowning in debt. I'm talking a staggering $192 billion here. To put that into perspective, it's almost as much as the entire GDP of countries like South Africa or Hungary. And they're not alone in this financial nightmare. Their German buddies, Daimler and BMW, are also swimming in debt, making them some of the most indebted companies globally. But it's not just about internal issues. Nope. External market dynamics are throwing hurdles at Volkswagen left and right. Despite a significant increase in electric vehicle sales, strict emissions and safety regulations are putting a strain on the company. And let's not forget the sales slump in China, where Volkswagen is slashing prices left and right just to stay in the game. And get this, they're planning to launch cheaper models below $25,000. But will it be enough to save them? Stick around till the end to find out. But wait, there's a haunting reminder of Volkswagen's shady past. Over 300,000 diesel cars scattered across the US, stored in 37 facilities. It's like an automotive purgatory. Remember the infamous 2015 emissions scandal? Yeah, VW got caught cheating emissions tests with sneaky software tricks. The aftermath? Billions in buyback settlements and the headache of storing these recalled vehicles. Let's paint the picture. Deserted cars left to rust in the scorching California desert. Former football stadiums in Detroit now serving as makeshift parking lots, and old paper mills in Minnesota, doubling as storage facilities. It's a sight straight out of a post-apocalyptic movie, but it's the grim reality facing Volkswagen. They need to enter Plan B in order to save what's salvageable. And if that wasn't enough, the EU just dropped the hammer with a ban on combustion engines. Why? By 2030, the EU expects a whopping 30 million electric cars to hit the roads. But with great power comes great responsibility. And in this case, it's the thorny issue of battery disposal. You see, most electric vehicles rely on lithium-ion batteries, which are a far cry from the old-school lead-acid ones. These bad boys are bigger, heavier, and packed with hazardous materials that could go boom if mishandled. Now here's where it gets interesting. Only a measly 5% of these batteries are currently being recycled worldwide. Nissan is trying to do its part by repurposing old Leaf car batteries for internal logistics, while Volkswagen has rolled up its sleeves and opened a recycling plant in Germany. Kudos to them for taking the green initiative, but there's still a long way to go before we can breathe easy. In a recent bombshell report, Bloomberg shed light on a shocking decline in electric car demand in Germany. And who's taking the biggest hit? You guessed it, Volkswagen. Turns out the German government pulled the plug on EV subsidies for business customers, sending shockwaves through the market. Sales skyrocketed by a whopping 171% in August as businesses scrambled to cash in on the subsidies before they vanished into thin air. But now that the party's over, sales have nosedived, leaving Volkswagen high and dry. And the ripple effects are staggering. Production of the much-hyped Volkswagen ID.3 and other electric models is being scaled back at their primary EV factory in Zwickau. It's a bitter pill to swallow for the automotive giant, especially considering that 70% of their electric cars are snapped up by business customers. But the question remains, what will Volkswagen do now to get out of the crisis? Okay, stay tuned, I'm going to explain it to you. Let's break it down. Assembly lines grinding to a halt, temporary workers left in limbo, and ambitious plans for new factories put on ice. It's a perfect storm of challenges that's rocking Volkswagen to its core. Picture this, the ID.3 assembly line at the glass factory in Dresden. Yeah, that's shutting down for a solid 2 weeks in October. And the effects, they're massive. Volkswagen is waving goodbye to 269 temporary workers in Zwickau, with the fate of another 2,000 hanging in the balance. Talk about tough times ahead, but wait, there's more. Volkswagen had grand visions under the leadership of Herbert Diess. They were gearing up for a game-changing electric car architecture named Trinity, with plans for a flashy new factory in Wolfsburg. It was supposed to rival Tesla's factory in Grünheide in terms of efficiency and productivity. Sounds impressive, right? Well, hold on to your hats because here's the kicker. They've hit the brakes on those plans. With Oliver Blume taking the wheel, Volkswagen hit the brakes and slammed on the brakes hard. A comprehensive review of the Trinity program and the proposed new factory led to a unanimous decision by the Volkswagen Board of Management to scrap the whole shebang. It's back to the drawing board, folks. But fear not, because Volkswagen isn't throwing in the towel just yet. Oh no, they've got a plan up their sleeves. They're ramping up production of the ID.3 at the Zwickau factory, with big plans to hit the ground running in 2023. And as if that wasn't enough, they've got their sights set on a brand spanking new all-electric SUV for the high-volume segment, set to roll off the production line in Wolfsburg, starting in 2026. Volkswagen has been forced to slash prices on their ID.3 and ID.4 models in China just to stay afloat. Well, it turns out their agency model, which was supposed to streamline operations, is actually tying their hands behind their backs. Dealers can't adjust prices, leaving Volkswagen stuck between a rock and a hard place. But fear not, because Volkswagen isn't throwing in the towel just yet. Oh no, they've got a plan up their sleeves. They're doubling down on their primary plant in Wolfsburg, where they'll be cranking out the next generation of electric vehicles. We're talking about the fully electric Volkswagen Golf MK9, positioned to be a real game-changer in the high-volume market. And if that wasn't enough, they've got their sights set on an electric version of the Tiguan, too. The future is electric, my friends, and Volkswagen are willing to make use of it. In fact, they've got some big plans up their sleeves. One of the most significant announcements on the horizon is the confirmation of an all-electric SUV for the high-volume segment, set to hit production lines in 2026. This game-changer, potentially named the Volkswagen ID.1, is poised to be the new entry-level model in Volkswagen's EV lineup, coming in below the upcoming ID.2. With a starting price of under $22,000, it's aiming to shake things up in the market and replace the aging e-up. But that's not all. Volkswagen has launched its Accelerate Forward program, a bold strategy aimed at achieving long-term profitability and performance. They're setting their sights high, seeking to double their passenger brand profit margins from 3% to a whopping 6.5%. That's a staggering improvement of $11.2 billion in earnings. Wow! So how are they planning to pull it off? Well, it's a two-pronged approach. First up, they're focusing on higher volume models to streamline production and maximize efficiency. Take the ID.7, for example, which has significantly fewer configuration options compared to its predecessor, the Golf 7 model. It's all about working smarter, not harder. Volkswagen isn't just sitting back and doing nothing. They're slashing prices and rolling out limited-time offers left, right, and center. Just take a look at their ID.3 electric car in China, where they're cutting prices to better suit the market demand. It's all about adapting to the times and staying ahead of the curve. Now let's talk numbers. While this year might not be a huge improvement from last year for Volkswagen, things are definitely looking up. With new cars hitting the scene soon, there's a good chance we'll see the German giant back at the top spot before you know it. But the big question remains, can Volkswagen beat Tesla in terms of EV sales? I want to hear your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below.